Brilliant. Okay, thank you so much to everyone who has come today to join us on our gathering. We have got lots of leaflets here for anyone that wants to either give them out. We've got certain leaflets you can't give out, nilly-nilly. It has to be to a parent, and we've got certain leaflets that you can put on your front door, your windows, to get the message out there. So for any of you that don't know who we are, we're Public Child Protection Wales, and we have been fighting the mandatory element of the Curriculum Bill 2020, which the mandatory element which includes the RSC, that's Relationship and Sexuality Education. The reason we are so hell-bent on getting this out of our curriculum is because it teaches children inappropriate ideologies and sexualises them from a very young age. This education will be from age 3 with no parental opt-out. Now, if that doesn't worry you as parents or grandparents, then I don't know what will, because the government are legislating to give, they've legislated to give your children a sex education that is what they believe they should be learning, not what you as parents should be believing. So I'm going to pass you on to Kim. So Kim's going to say a few things. Please feel free to collect any leaflets here. We've got a couple of t-shirts for sale if anyone wants some merchandise. And I'll pass you over to Kim now. So thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm not going to keep you long today, guys, because I keep doing this presentation over and over, and there's a lot of people here who's here all the time. You know what we're talking about. But Lucia mentioned RSE, Relationship and Sexuality Education. I'm not calling Lucia a liar, because she's not lying. The government is saying it's RSE. It's actually CSE, Comprehensive Sexuality Education. Comprehensive sexuality education is global, and the people in charge of it believe your children should be educated on sex and sexuality from birth. Comprehensive sexuality education is a rights-based movement. It sounds great. But we now all have sexual and reproductive rights from birth. You need to look into these sexual and reproductive rights, especially if you live in Wales. We have a hierarchy of rights here. Children's rights override parental rights. But in between the children's rights and the parental rights are now sexual and reproductive rights. Part of these sexual and reproductive rights mean the state can administer medication to your child without your consent, which is extremely worrying when they want to teach 3-year-olds about a gender ideology. So on the 1st of March 2017, all 4 UK governments signed up to this. This is the World Health Organization Standard for Sexuality in Europe. This is the document they all signed up to. It's only 60 pages, but you need to read it. The reason why you need to read it is because you need to understand what was going through these people's heads when they signed up to this. From page 38 onwards is a matrix, and it's very easy to read. It's got the age of the child in the corner, then it's got a column, information fed into a child, the skills the child will acquire, and the attitude the child has from that information. Age 0 to 4, early childhood masturbation. Know what feels good, listen to your body, 0 to 4. 4 to 6. Use sexual behaviour in a non-offensive way. If you'd like to read this document, I have it here now. So that's the framework they all chose, all 4 UK governments. What have we seen since then? We've seen lesson contents roll out across the UK. We've seen it in England, we've seen it in Scotland. But I want to bring your attention first to this one, because I've spoken about early childhood masturbation. And people always say, how can they teach that? They're not going to teach that. Well, they've changed the terminology slightly, and it's called self-stimulation. This is the All About Me package. So you will get a document and it'll tell you they're doing the All About Me unit. It's all about me. It's about growing up. So I'm going to read this to you now. This is for 4-year-olds, okay? In 241 schools in England. There are also rules about touching yourself too. Now, lots of people like to tickle or stroke themselves as it might feel nice. They might play with their hair, stroke their skin, or they may even touch their private parts. This is really very normal. However, some people might get cross or say that it's dirty, especially when you touch your own privates. This is strange, as it's really very normal. However, it is not polite to do when other people are about. It is something we should only do when we are alone, perhaps in the bath or shower or in bed, a bit like picking your nose. It's certainly not polite to do it in the class when everyone is watching. So, that is the self-stimulation. What's the problem with that? We got children, they always got their hands in their trousers. Correct. We got 4 types of children. We got the children with their hands in their trousers just because they do it. We got the children who don't do it at all. We got children that are doing it because they've been neglected and it's soothing. Then we've got the children that's reenacting things that's going on in their own lives. Children that's been abused. This has just blanket taught every child in that class to touch themselves. It has also programmed every single child in that class away from what we call a non-verbal disclosure. A non-verbal disclosure is in the child's behaviour, the way they act out. We have to investigate these behaviours. So you tell me, how is that a safeguarding tool? We've just programmed every single child in the country away from a disclosure. But that's safeguarding. So have a look at some other things we've come across then, guys. How many children have we got here? We haven't got many children here, have we? Right, no. So we got videos. These videos were commissioned by the SNP, Scottish National Party, and the NSPCC. So there's better things than straight white sex. There's hardcore porn, there's self-stimulation, bondage, facial ejaculation. Then we've got the survey from the government. The government want to know when your child lost their virginity. The government wants to know, children of statutory rape age, what orifices they use for sexual activity. Absolutely disgusting. And just for a bit of fun, 6-year-olds forced to write gay love letters. That's inclusivity. Let's have a look at some more. We're just going to pull through some more for you guys to have a look. You're all welcome to come and have a look at this. These ones here are talking about facial ejaculation, oral sex. What else have we got? Anal sex. Anal sex is amazing. Yeah, anal sex is amazing. That's what they use as part of their contraception. It's to stop teenagers getting pregnant to have anal sex. What else have we got? Let's have a look. We've got something here called the trans toolkit. You might have heard a story about a school in the Rhondda. They actually used this trans toolkit. They took a child, turned it into a female, gave it a female's uniform, female name. 2 weeks later, the parents found out about it, and it all kicked off. That's the trans toolkit. Section 7.4 confidentiality clause. Do not tell the parents. That's your child's sexual and reproductive rights right there. So we keep getting told, oh, they won't do this, they won't do that, they'll never do that. But they will, guys. They're doing it this year. It's all over the world. What have we got here? If your children haven't got toys, they can go to your pantry and use the vegetables. Is this real? This is in our children's classrooms. England, Scotland, all over the world. Why haven't we had it in Wales yet? I tell you why. Because they knew we would be the toughest nuts to crack. So they put us over a barrel. And they legislated for this education from age 3 to 16 with no parental opt-out. I'm not being funny, guys, but I want to know what my kids are learning in maths. I want to know what they're learning in history. I want to know what they're learning in geography. So they shouldn't be legislating anyway, right? You should have a right to know what's going on. But they've legislated for sex education. Not just a single lesson, it is in history, maths, science, English. It's all over the curriculum. It is not a single lesson, which makes it hard for you to remove your child anyway, yeah? So we know where this education comes from. We know point blank where it comes from. It comes from the Kinsey Institute. And it is built off the back of child abuse. Where would they get statements such as sexual from birth? Where would they get it? They get it from a child. From abusing a child. This, what I'm saying, is not just me saying this. It's in reports. It's in their books. The human behaviour of a sexual male. The human behaviour of a sexual female. And the Kinsey report. This is it. This is what our education is based on. The Kinsey Institute are chief advisors to UNESCO. UNESCO is UNRSE code. We tried telling them about UNESCO for 2 years. They denied it. They denied it's a global rollout. They denied it till they were blue in the face. Now they're saying it's co-constructed. UNESCO has been evaluated at 87% failure, co-constructed. So how much of that 87% failure do we want? 10%, 20%, 30%? We want none of it. We want it out. And we want it gone for good. So we are concerned. We're concerned about the high levels of abuse taking place at institutions, in the system and everything else. We've been called paedophile conspiracies. We get told by the public, they would never do that. They would never do that. Well, do you know what? I'm a criminologist. And I specialise in child sex abuse, exploitation, harmful sexual behaviour, models of offending, barriers, disclosure, perpetrators of abuse. I can tell you, less than 1% of assaults result in conviction. Less than 1%. But here, I've got a list of convictions. There, on that page there, 29 convictions. Councillors, mayors, school governors, children's ministers, no? Children's ministers. All of these are you are policy makers, you are politicians, and all these are convictions. Convictions, convicted of crimes against our children. And this list has not been updated since 2017, but they would never do that. That's convictions, okay? Look, it's all referenced. You can check it out for yourself. They would never, ever do that, but they've been convicted of it. So, guys, the government, they've lied to us from day one. The first lie was that we didn't lose our parental opt-out. Lynn Neagle, that was. She said we hadn't lost our parental opt-out. We found a letter between her and Kirsty Williams online. Her constituents threatened not to vote for her in the election. She said these words, "I'll take my chances." Yesterday, she was met with an elderly gentleman. Dennis, he's here now. I don't know if he wants to tell you the story himself. He's more than welcome to. He saw Lynn yesterday and he asked her questions about this education. She denied it. He asked her a question about anal sex. She said, "Don't be so rude." But she couldn't say yes or no because she knows that is a part of their contraception. That is how they are trying to prevent teenage pregnancies through anal sex. Nothing about anal cancer. They just want you to have anal sex. So Dennis said to Lynn, he said, "I hear you're being taken to court over this." She said, "Yes." Do you know what she said then? "We'll win hands down."
Yeah, with our money.
The government will win hands down. Are they that desperate to get into our 3-year-olds? Are they that desperate they've got to legislate against us? Are they that confident they're going to win? They probably are. Do you know why? Because they've gone away with everything since this was established in 1999. 1999 was the year I left school. I had post offices, community centres, youth clubs, we had libraries, we had it all. Now we've got nothing but this world-class education. This government's so amazing, they got this world-class education that's going to teach your children to be kind. It's going to save them from STIs. But it's promoting sexual freedom, sexual liberation, sexual and reproductive rights. You should be concerned. You should be very concerned because, like I said, with our school over the Rhondda, the trans toolkit and the sexual and reproductive rights, the state can administer medication to your child without your consent. The first leaflets we printed back in 2020, we took statistics from Scotland. And what did they say? The waiting list for transgender intervention for 4-year-olds has increased by 80%. That was for 4-year-olds in 2020. Now it's increased by 1,400% for children under the age of 16. What are we doing to these kids? What are we doing? These lessons are coming hard and fast in England. There is a government commissioned dice game. Go to Aunt Summer's. The same game is there with a different label. It is a sex game. The document, the teachers are introducing this dice game. Do you know what the instructions actually say to the teacher? The instructions say, hold your nerve. What? Hold your nerve? In a classroom with children and a dice game? This is absolutely disgusting and it's gone too far. We have tried our hardest to stop this from happening. We did a petition. What did they do? I'll tell you what they did, and I've got the emails to prove. They removed the information from our petition. They removed the sexual and reproductive rights because they don't believe you've got a right to know what's going on. They replaced it with a pro-abortion website for adults. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. On the 26th of November, they called us up and they said, you've got till Monday, this was a Thursday this was, you've got till Monday to get 10,000 signatures on your petition. We're supposed to have 5,000, sorry. You've got till Monday to get 5,000 signatures on your petition. Or at midnight it goes up to 10,000. What? When was this decision made? About 3 weeks ago, they said. So are you only telling us now? Oh, because you were different. Because they wanted to screw us over. They wanted us to fail. But you know what? We didn't fail. We made it. Every single time they set our bar, we rise to the occasion every single time. We had those 5,000 signatures. We submitted 17 pieces of evidence to the petitions committee. And the best we had was, oh, we don't know what's misinformation and what's not misinformation. Your job is to look. Your job is to investigate the things that we bring to you. We are bringing this stuff from your own documents. They simply do not care. The only time a politician will care about this subject is when there's an election. They will talk about RSE then. Day after the election, they will never mention it again. This is what we're up against. A nice little crowd here today, but where's the thousands? Our kids are in danger. Our kids are in serious danger. There's lots of aspects to this that are a problem, okay? It's a problem for the religious people. It's a massive problem for them, but they're being told to shut up. It's a problem for people that don't want their kids learning about sex anyway because they think they're prudes. They are told to shut up. Well, do you know what? I'm a kid off the streets. I'm a kid off the streets. I mean, the youth offenders. I've been there. I've done it. I've bought the T-shirt. Now I'm a criminologist. I'm a criminologist who specialises in child sex abuse, and I have studied the stats in this country since September 2020. And I can tell you, hand on my heart here, the fitness to practice panels and the Education Workforce Council, a third are sexually motivated. A third. No convictions. No. If you look at these panels, it gives you the information there, the names, the schools, the everything, right? Do you know what these teachers get for giving our children money and Valium and alcohol and taking them out? Do you know what they get? 2-year suspension. That is it. Who's dealing with these cases on the Education Workforce Council? Is it a police officer? Is it a social worker? Is it an ex-teacher? No, it is not. People cherry-picked by this government. Jobs for the boys. There's no qualifications. There's no criteria to meet. If your face fits, you get a job. That's not good enough. It's simply not good enough. And that doesn't even cover our private schools. It's only our mainstream schools. So guys, what are we going to do about this? We're taking it to court. It's costing £100,000. I haven't got £100,000. I've got nothing. I've had to scrape together to get tyres on my car. £100,000 just to get this information into court? Just to get somebody to hear our concerns? Are we going to win? Well, according to Lynn Needle, no. They're going to win, hands down. Why are we forced to do this? To protect our own children? We don't need a lesson on being kind. We don't need a lesson on acceptance. We need a lesson on how to get rid of our government. That's what we need. They've overstepped the mark, guys. They've overstepped the mark. I'm sick of people saying it's not that bad, it's not that bad. Well, do you know what's not that bad? The traffic. Go and put your kids on the M4. Go on, 'cause it's not that bad today. This is serious. This is the biggest danger facing our kids since I don't even know when. Like I said, the court, guys, the court is going to be massive. It's not every day you take the government to court. We shouldn't have to do this. But £100,000. We're doing sponsors. We're trying whatever we can to raise money. We've got no social life because all our money is plowed into petrol getting us around the country. Why? To protect our kids. That's sick. That's sick. We had to come out during COVID just to try and protest against this. Forced out when we should have been at home with our families. Forced out to try and protect the little ones in this country. Nobody's listening. Nobody's doing anything about it. But you know what, guys? This is not the end of the road. This is an opportunity. Okay? This is an opportunity. You don't hear me speak much about what's going on in Ireland because I don't like to talk about it over there because the people involved in this stuff over there is worse than what we got over here, right? But I'm not ignoring Ireland. Ireland are in on this when I speak as well. Ireland have got these lessons. Ireland are going off the World Health Organization document. England have got these lessons. They're searching for pornography online for their homework. They've got this self-stimulation for the 4-year-olds. Scotland, they did interfacial ejaculation, bondage and everything else. Wales, we've got this stinking legislation. Ireland, England, Scotland, you're coming where we are. The government signed up to that document there. I call it a BMW. They're not going to drive an Astra into your living room, into your classroom, if they've signed up for the BMW. The BMW's coming. People keep saying, oh, Wales, I wouldn't put up with this, I wouldn't put up with that. We're in the same storm. We're in the same storm, we're just in a different boat, that's all, guys. But this is an opportunity here. An opportunity for the whole of the UK. We don't choose where we go to war. We go where we need it. Yes, we're facing the court, but this is an opportunity. A real opportunity. This is in 52 countries. When it comes in, it never leaves. Never ever leaves. You start with the lessons, you end up with the legislation. Wales, we started with this legislation. Why? Because if we had these lessons, heads would have rolled. They would have rolled months ago. So that's why they're trying to stitch us up now. Removing your children from these lessons, you will be in breach of their right to an education. Eventually, you will be in breach of their sexual and reproductive rights. Guys, the war is in Wales. The war is in this country for the whole of the UK. We have got to use this opportunity and we have to run with it. Years ago, when I was sat in Eastwood Park, I was a teenager, and that's when I had my first awakening to institutional abuse. And I've always thought to myself, what can I do? It's massive, you can never. How can you do something this big and protect so many kids? And it's impossible. 20 years later, it's not impossible. This is the opportunity. This is the opportunity to change. This is the opportunity to keep the kids off the streets, opportunity to keep them out of jail. This is the chance. This is the chance to change things for everyone. New policies, new legislation, and the people take over. Because the people know how to run this show. I'm not going to hold you much longer now, guys. I really want to get out there. I want to try and inform as many people as possible about what's going on. I need you guys to do the same. We need to raise awareness. We need to raise this roof. We need to raise the money. We need to raise our kids in a safe country. Right, guys, I'm going to go now. I want to thank you all for coming. We're going to be here every third Saturday, okay? We come in here because we need to wake the crowds up. We need to show them what's going on. And if we come here once a month and only go back with 10 new supporters, that's 10 more than we had the time before. That's what this is about. We need to find that parent, okay? It's not going to take thousands and thousands and thousands of people. It's just going to take a couple of the right people, that parent in each school. If you haven't got the courage to do something about this, guys, it's fine. Find that parent in the yard. Tell that parent is always having to go with the teachers. Tell that parent will do something about it. We've got a PowerPoint being put together and we're delivering talks. We've got a lovely event going on in Cwmbran. We've got one in a school in North Wales. We've got some big events coming up informing people. I would love to train people up on this, to deliver a presentation through a PowerPoint. I would love to do that, to get this information out there. Because I do understand there's people out there who can't articulate this properly because it's confusing. When I first started, if you asked me what my problem was, I couldn't get a straight sentence, right? I was all over the place. But if we put this in a PowerPoint, you don't have to know everything. The most honest thing you can do when somebody asks you a question is say, I don't know the answer to that, but I can find out. You don't have to know it all. It's not about knowing everything. It's about informing. And do you know what I say? Instead of you having to prove yourself right, give 5 facts. 5 facts and tell them to prove it wrong. Right, guys, I'm going to hand you over now to Sarah, who I keep calling Sarah, because of the way her mother spelled her name. Me and Lucia are terrible with names anyway, we know. But yeah, I want to thank you all for coming. I'm going to get out there now, get these leaflets out there. Come on, Wales. Come on, Wales. We can do this, right? They legislated against us for this reason, because they knew heads would roll. Now, do you know what? I'm getting ready to roll some heads. The only thing I'm a bit disappointed about is I haven't got a horse and a spear. But the mentality is still the same. This is war. This is my kids. A line has been crossed, and it's about time we put them all back in their place. And we can't do this unless we all come together, guys. Yeah, one in, all in for the kids.
Hello, my name is Sarah. I'm from Pontypridd. I am now going to be the voice of Pontypridd. I'm going to get a PowerPoint off Kim, and I am going to alert the parents in the Pontypridd area, in the schools my grandchildren go to. And the reason I am going to do this is I have never said this to anyone before. Only my family and my nearest and dearest know this. I was groomed by a family member at the age of 5. So I could see this danger more than anyone, okay? This is paedophilia through the back door. I don't care who I offend. I really don't. I couldn't give a stuff, right? Yeah, thank you. Yes, I'm going to be the voice of Pontypridd. I have a group on Facebook at the moment. It's called Parents and Guardians Against Grooming in Schools. Now, you can all find me on my profile on Facebook. I have a picture of a little girl with an arm across her face saying I am not for sale. This is all to do with paedophilia, okay? And these sods in here are not going to win because the parents decide what gets taught to the children. Not the government, not the councils, not the social services, no one. We gave birth. Or if you're a foster parent or a guardian or whatever, you decide, not them swines in there, not the paedophile police department, because there's a lot of them about as well, right? There's a lot on my group. You can see a lot. You can join the group, alert your friends, alert your families. This is war against our children, and that is the end of it.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Appreciate your input there, and thank you so much for being the voice in Pontypridd for us. Thank you. I'd just like to say a thank you for everyone for turning up today, and we would really appreciate any help giving out leaflets. If you want a bunch to take away with you to hand out to your communities, then please let us know. We've got a load here as well. Oh yeah, these here as well. We actually started this as a poster campaign where we want everyone to be putting them in their windows. We did say to put it on lampposts, bus stops, etc. You can do that, but they do get taken down, sometimes straight away. So if you did want to do something like that, sort of do it last thing at night, so parents will pick them up, see them in the morning before they get taken down. But the best place to put them is on your property, because no one's going to take them away. So if you can, even if you just all collect one of these to put on your house, we'd really appreciate that as well. So thank you everyone, and we'll come round to speak to you all in a bit. Thank you.